Arcturian Group, December 18, 2016. Webpage, www.onenessofall.com. Dear ones, again this year we wish to bring to you the deeper meanings of Christmas, the ones in which you do not simply celebrate people and events of 2,000 years ago but personally experience. The story of the birth of Jesus, Jeshua who became the Christ, is every man's story. Jesus was already an ascended master when born into one of his many earthly incarnations 2,000 years ago. His intent was to bring truth and light to a world, enmeshed in density and illusion. Very few at that time were able to grasp the depth of his teachings. The masses were not yet spiritually evolved enough to fully comprehend the truths he taught, and so instead, pinned truth to him personally, making him a god. The unevolved third-dimensional mindset of separation interpreted the words "I am" as referring only to the messenger. Thus began the worship of the man, while missing the message. In choosing to ignore "I am" as being the truth about every man, the majority simply continued to live in an unawakened state. This false teaching lingers yet today in many churches who, under the guise of spirituality, continue to worship the messenger and miss the message. This is the story of many illumined masters, who throughout generations chose to incarnate in order to assist mankind to evolve, and were then either rejected or worshipped as gods. Truth always has, and always will threaten personal belief systems, resulting in fear and violent actions toward the messenger, in an attempt to keep the status quo even if it is painful and life-suppressing. The world is witnessing this right now. As higher dimensional energies pour to Earth and world consciousness begins to open, illusions created and held in place by beliefs of duality and separation will begin to crumble, leaving those who benefit from them in a fury to hold them in place. Every individual experiences a personal Christmas, at some point in their evolutionary journey, if not in this lifetime, then another. Divinity, being man's true nature, will at a certain point of spiritual readiness, break through into awareness, allowing the Christ to be personally born. The world is a spiritual universe, interpreted and experienced according to each individual's awareness. An individual interpreting through a mind heavily conditioned with beliefs of good, evil and separation, will act and experience the world much differently than the person who has attained a consciousness of oneness. The familiar Christmas story, as you know it, is the material sense of a spiritual activity. This does not mean the event did not happen, but means that, as with all things, there are deeper layers to be explored. We give you the mystical layer. The manger, seemingly barren and primitive, represents the state of consciousness necessary for a Christ consciousness birth to take place. A consciousness no longer cluttered with three-dimensional concepts and beliefs. There is no room in the inn. The inn being a location, state of consciousness, thought to be more appropriate according to human standards. The Christ can only be born in a consciousness free of false beliefs that give power to the creations of duality and separation, for there, the inn is already full. The Virgin Mother symbolizes of the creative purified state of consciousness capable of bringing forth the Christ consciousness divine feminine. Joseph is the loving but strong overseer part of every self-divine masculine who protects the mother and newly born Christ consciousness from outside interference. Together they represent the feminine and masculine energies in perfect unity. The wise men are ascended beings of light, who recognized and journeyed to honor the Christ consciousness, bringing gifts and giving homage. The wise men and the humble shepherds represent spiritual awareness present within all parts of the world and all levels of society. The Christ consciousness is never limited to a particular race, nationality, or gender. A newly born Christ consciousness is fragile and needs time to strengthen and mature. The babe must be held close, protected and safely hidden within, until the time comes in which it can manifest fully and be lived. A fully developed Christ consciousness holds no fear because it knows itself, and thus lives each moment in the unconditional love of one. The Christmas story is your story, dear ones, the one you are living now as you journey from a third-dimensional consciousness to living, moving and having your being in the truth of who and what you are. At some point you will have a personal Christmas. In the three-dimensional world, Christmas is based in concepts that vary according to each person, society, tradition, religious belief, and state of consciousness. Everyone is resonating and interpreting the world through their personal level of awareness. Do not be surprised if you find you no longer resonate with holiday activities in the same way. The familiar hype, music, and emotional promotions may now feel jarring, whereas in the past you enjoyed the excitement. This is because your resonance is no longer in alignment. You may believe you have lost the Christmas spirit, but rather it is simply that you have spiritually outgrown many of the more material aspects of the Christmas season. Celebrate the season by choice, not obligation. Joy is your innate right and privilege as spiritual beings. The parties, church services, gift exchanges, music, or time spent with family and friends who still see Christmas in its old forms are all occasions for expressing unconditional love. The greatest gift you can give anyone at this time of celebration is your recognition of their true identity. The gift of divine recognition is given consciously, until it becomes one's attained state of consciousness, and then it flows without conscious awareness because it has fully integrated as the individual, going where he goes, flowing through every word, and affecting anyone receptive to the energy. For many, a great deal of their gift-giving still flows from guilt and duty. Retailers thrive on this awareness, and promote sales through sentimental advertising in an effort to convince potential buyers that they are not loving if do not buy. If you find yourselves experiencing this sort of pressure, stop and examine your belief system. What am I believing that is making me feel this way? The sky will not fall down if you stop giving gifts out of habit for those you no longer have anything in common with, or who are no longer in your experience. Let every material gift you exchange this season carry an energy of spiritual awareness, gifts of spirit in material form. Wishing you all a true Christmas. We are the Arcturian Group. Merry Christmas, dear readers of the Arcturian Group Messages. Marilyn.